All right. And last and certainly not least, um, is it but certainly not least or and certainly not least? Well, I don't think it matters right now. We have the final bottom part of the combiner. The I don't think I ever gave it a name, but yeah. So these are the legs, and they're made of double cogs. Yeah, really, really, really fun, really chunk and kind of gnarly actually up at the top. How it like all connects into everything. Oops, sorry, it's been like ultra blurry fighter. Sorry, should I re-record it? Nah, whatever. It's clever, Trevor. Um, it's pretty cool how it's made. Like, there's a lot of like cool like chunk like how stuff just aligns. That's really fun. Um, oops, put that in. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's really fun. Yeah, that's and it's a really really solid piece. And I could imagine if I were to kind of remove these arm bits, I could do something else with it. And this might just be like a calf joint for like something huge. And so then the thigh and the hip would have to be another robot. But yeah, I always get lost in the torso on these things because I'm like, what to do with the torso, you know? Like, how many robots do you use? Like, I don't even know who to use the head, you know? But anyway, okay. So there's some really, really neat things about him. Is so this in the back is what supports him, and you could have this in different angles based on how forward or backward you want. Same thing with this. You can move the foot around, and again, it just kind of gives it's like it's a heel spur basically, but that's how you like angle it around and stuff. And so yeah, and that is plugged into the underside of the underside of the foot. Okay. And this other one, that's just decoration over there. And so first what you're doing is you have the cog body, and then you have two of the legs, the knees plugged in to the top of the chest, those parts right there, here. And so you see this is the foot. And as this goes up, that leg right here is basically plugged into another cog, the full body, the full like lower half. You can see, right? That's just one robot, basically. Yeah, I should have just started with one robot kneeling into the chest of another robot. I should have said it like that. Yeah. But then what's happened now is we have the second pair of legs of the cog, and there's little pegs in front of the knees, and you've plugged them into the back of the cog torso because there are ports for those. And then you plug both of those in. Then you bring them up to the second hip connector because the first hip connector is used right here. Then the second hip connector we have up top. It is not connected to this. It's just a little bit more free flowing, and so one could even say this is a knee joint, perhaps. But oops, what's more important for us here is that we expose this peg and then we expose this peg. And so how that is done is that this lower half connector of cog has two ports right there and right there. And these would normally be at the back if this were standing upright. But you see what I'm talking about, right? That, yeah. And so you have one of the gun bits, the cog wrist gun, plugged into that hole, and you angle the forearm back to expose that peg like so. Very similar over here. You plug that same thing into the hole, but you spin it around, and then you want to expose that peg going that way. So you have two pegs both going that way. And this up front, like these are all just kind of like this is plugged into, like this is just plugged in right here, and this is plugged in right here. This is just to cover the cavity, like to cover the hole basically. Like this is just how it would look normally without those bits. But yeah, we're just putting those bits in because it it covers stuff up. Let's see. I think this is like that. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna use that peg and that peg, and so it's really neat. Let me remove the arms right now. So it's that hole and it's that hole. So we'll start with the bottom one first. Just kind of get that in there. Yeah, it's nice and in there. And then you angle this one up, and you're gonna not wedge it, but it's a tight fit. Yeah, and dude, like, told you, it's a super tight fit. Let's see if we can do the same magic on this side. Plug in, yeah. Then we plug in the. Oh, this one has some clearance. Issues. No, it's about the same. But yeah, and then so see how he's all like wobbling back and forth? That's where the little heel spurt things come in. See, there you go. Sorry, he's Bururi-san. So I hope that was enough instruction for the foot. So again, one more time, you got a whole cog just kneeling into the body of the second cog, right? Oops, yeah, that just kind of fell backward. Whatever. Kneeling into the body of a second cog. You're adorned, and then on the back of one of the feet, you have the gun. Plugged into the back of the cog are those legs of the other one that you bring up and you plug into the hip connector, the waist, which is the lower torso of cog. You bend that 90 degrees and then you plug in the arms like instructed earlier to expose those two pegs, which can then plug into here and here. And to be honest, I don't think I did a great job of explaining it, but whatever's. And then we have the arms that you've seen in the other videos. That's the noise. That's my sound effect for the Transformers noise. Back in the day, I don't know if you guys still have like rotary fans. I mean, we don't at home, but we don't even have AC. They were broke, son. No, we're not broke, but we don't have AC or fans. The rotary fans, you used to be able to talk into them, and it used to sound like sound wave. You guys ever do that, where you go like Transformers? But you would say it into the fan to give it the sound wave voice, the synthesized, modulated voice. Let's see. I'm just trying to get the heel placement right. No, this is still a little too far back. I think that's all right. All right. Good enough, but he didn't break apart. You see how sturdy he is? Yeah, he's good. All right, gang. Well, thank you so much for joining me. That guy basically says he's done, son. And so he is going to leave like a breeze. Overseas, the letter P is before Q and before U. Knew I was done because that's all I got today. All right, bye. That sucked.